this history was overlooked by the mainstream media for decades and decades, to the point now where black cowboys will walk down the street in almost every city, and people are shocked. They're amazed.
And I could probably put my hat on and walk the street of Aurora or Denver, and people are going to look at me like, oh, wow, he can't be from around here.
Or until fairly recently, it's just been left out of history, number one, by historians.
And they kind of wrote us out of the history books.
And I think that the second way, especially from a popular culture standpoint, it's left out by Hollywood. It's left out by the media.
I would like for a movie to come out that really depicts how those trail drives really was.
Because we're leaving out so much history because we want to show it from our own personal perspective or our own personal viewpoint or our own concept of what true history is at the expense of others that we simply are not including. We're more exclusive in our history than we are inclusive in our history.
Right now what we're seeing is that school children of all races are not being exposed to the true American West.
Here in Colorado, they teach in 3rd and 4th grade Colorado history. And so, that whole time they're talking about Colorado history, they never talked about African Americans. They never talked about Latinos or any other ethnic group. It was just always homogenized.
We have always, as a people, in our study of history, whether we're in the elementary, high school, or college level, not been told about this. So people don't believe it actually exists.
Growing up here, I got to learn all the history of all the pioneers, the white pioneers. And I remember in 3rd grade, I asked my teacher, I said, what about the black pioneers? And because I was just so captivated by those stories, and my mother made us pioneer dresses and the little bonnets and things, and we went to school. I went to a mostly white school, and I remember being so proud to be in my little pioneer dress, and the kids made fun of me, and a teacher said, well, you should have dressed like a slave.
Lou Fasson, who produces the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo, he had been doing some research, and he decided that he was going to do a black rodeo.
The wonderful thing about the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo is it brings the West alive.
Even today, people don't realize that there was black cowboys. We've been on the rodeo circuit with the Bill Pickett show for about 20-some years now, and we get new people coming up to us all the time saying, well, I never knew there was black cowboys, and this has been educational for us.
There's a lot of children that need to understand that there are dreams that they can still acquire. They no longer have to sit and watch the Lone Ranger and wonder if they can become a cowboy. They don't have to watch some of the great westerns, Gunsmoke, and wonder where was the black man.
I mean, it's all part of history. I'm glad I'm a part of history. And
so I remember the first time I was a college student, and I came to this museum, and I went to the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo, and I had this overwhelming sense of pride. We are different from most museums because, especially for children of color, when you come in here, you see your face reflected. You see your families reflected and your history. And then for other kids, they start to go, well, what else haven't I learned?
Well, I think more does need to be said. I think it needs to be incorporated in any course that we're going to be talking about Western history. I think that we need to really reevaluate how we actually discuss our history as Americans.
I think that this history really needs to be captured now because A, it does symbolize the black experience in the West that's been overlooked by the mainstream media, and B, it's just good old American history.
If you don't understand African American history, you don't understand American history. How can you understand one and not understand the other and think that you understand it fully?
A lot of the history is held by these old cowboys and cowgirls who rodeoed and ranched during the Jim Crow era. We're wanting to get these stories while these people are still around and have these amazing stories to tell, and sometimes we're not able to get them.
Henry Lewis is a black cowboy. He kind of came up in the old cavalry, okay, and he was a vet tech, okay, and he just recently passed away.
He was an old-fashioned Wild West cowboy. And I'm really sorry that we missed his story.
We need to get those stories before these guys pass away, or they're going to be lost forever.
And we really need to get those stories for this film. We need to get those stories for history.
Time done made a change. Oh, time done made a change. Oh, the time done made